Welcome to our Bedtime Stories channel. I'm Andre, your narrator for tonight, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. Relax, settle in, and let these stories be your companion as you drift off to sleep, while also helping you practice your English listening skills. So, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. Sweet dreams, and enjoy the story. As night blankets the towering peaks of Kyrgyzstan, a soft wind whispers through the mountains. It's a gentle, almost sacred breeze that seems to carry echoes of the past, weaving through valleys and forests, brushing over hidden lakes, and whispering stories of ages long gone. In the stillness of this dark, quiet night, the spirits of Kyrgyz ancestors seem to stir, murmuring tales of bravery, honor, and undying legacy. One such story, kept alive in the hearts of every Kyrgyz child, is that of a young woman whose courage knew no bounds. Her name was Janyl Myrza, a name that lingers like a soft note in the air, reverberating through time. It is said that she roamed these very mountains, fierce, fearless, and driven by an unbreakable spirit. They say that if you listen closely, you can almost hear the rhythmic gallop of her horse echoing across the land as if she were still riding somewhere under the Kyrgyz sky. Long ago, in this beautiful, rugged land of towering mountains and wide-open skies, there lived a girl like no other. Her name was Janyl Myrza. Even now, under the quiet stars, her tale floats on the night breeze, a story of a heart as vast and unyielding as the peaks that cradle this country. Tonight, let us journey into her world, a world of bravery, mystery, and strength, a story carried across generations. Who was Janyl Myrza, this fearless girl, and why does her story endure, whispered from one generation to the next, holding a place in the hearts of the Kyrgyz people? Now, let me tell you about someone extraordinary. Her name was Janyl Myrza, a young woman who was like no other in the rugged, majestic lands of Kyrgyzstan. From an early age, Janyl had a spirit that couldn't be contained, a courage so fierce, it outshone even the bravest young men of her village. You see, in those times, traditions were strong, and there were certain roles and expectations for everyone, especially for women. Yet Janyl was born to defy them all. People marveled at her, and some even whispered of fear when they saw her in action. For while most girls learned the arts of home and hearth, Janyl learned the arts of the warrior. She was strong, quick-witted, and fiercely independent. Her heart beat with a rhythm of its own, drawn to the call of the mountains and the open fields. She loved the wildness of galloping on horseback, the thrill of throwing a spear, and the precision of archery, honing each skill as if it were an art form crafted just for her. Her family watched in a mix of awe and trepidation, wondering where this fire in her spirit would lead. And as for the people of her village, they, too, watched, their hearts caught between admiration and unease. For in this young girl, they saw something powerful, something untamed, perhaps even something destined for greatness. Life in Janyl Myrza's village was peaceful, surrounded by the vast, open lands of the Kyrgyz mountains, where the people lived simply, bound by a shared sense of community and honor. But one fateful day, whispers began to circulate. A threat was looming from a neighboring tribe. This tribe was known for its power and fierceness, led by a ruthless leader with ambitions to seize Kyrgyz land. The fear spread like a chilling wind through the village, and worry creased the brows of even the strongest warriors. As the village braced itself for the oncoming danger, Janyl felt her heart stir with a fierce resolve. While others cowered, she sensed something different, a calling, a chance to rise. For in this moment of fear, Janyl saw an opportunity, a way to prove herself not only to her family and her village, but to herself as well. She knew the traditions, knew well that women had never taken up arms, had never ridden into battle. But Janyl believed that she was born to be different. With her mind set and her spirit unyielding, she vowed to do whatever it took to defend her people. She would face this new danger, not with fear, but with fierce determination. And though her decision would go against all customs and bring many doubters, she knew in her heart that if there was one person who could take on this enemy, that person was her. As the threat drew nearer, Janyl's resolve only grew stronger. From the break of dawn until the stars blanketed the sky, she could be found training relentlessly. Her mornings were spent galloping through the rough, uneven terrain, mastering her balance and endurance atop her loyal horse. The pounding of hooves became a familiar rhythm, echoing her determination with every heartbeat. Then, under the midday sun, she'd move to the archery grounds, bow in hand, focused and unwavering. She drew her bowstring back, again and again, until her fingers blistered and her arms ached with fatigue. But she didn't stop. The pain was simply part of her journey, a test of her commitment. Her arrows sliced through the air, each one flying straighter and faster as her skill sharpened. But Janyl was not alone. The village's finest warriors, men who had seen many battles and knew the toll of war, noticed her dedication. Impressed by her spirit, they took her under their wing, teaching her the tactics of combat and the discipline of a warrior. They pushed her, demanding excellence in every move, and Janyl, with her iron will, rose to every challenge they set before her. In her heart, she was preparing not just to fight, but to protect the land and the people she loved. Through the sweat, the bruises, and the endless hours, Janyl's strength grew. She was becoming a force, someone her village could believe in, and someone the enemy would soon fear. Despite her fierce determination, Janyl knew that she couldn't defend the village alone. She needed allies, those willing to stand by her side in the face of overwhelming odds. At first, her attempts were met with hesitation. The village men, though brave, were uncertain about joining a woman in battle. But Janyl's unwavering spirit, her sense of duty, and her vision for a free, protected homeland struck a chord in the hearts of a few courageous souls. One by one, young men began to step forward, their respect for Janyl evident in the way they listened to her plans and heeded her strategies. With each meeting, their numbers grew. Soon, she had gathered a band of warriors, a group bound by their love for their village and a fierce loyalty to each other. Together, they trained side by side, pushing past exhaustion as they practiced maneuvers and perfected their tactics. Through shared hardships and relentless preparation, a deep bond formed. They learned to trust one another not only as warriors but as brothers and sisters united by a single cause. Laughter and quiet conversations filled the campfires at night, and slowly, Janyl saw them transform into a true fighting unit. As the days passed, She wasn't merely preparing a team, she was cultivating a fellowship of brave hearts, a collective spirit bound by friendship and the unshakable resolve to defend their homeland. And in her heart, Janyl knew that together, they were unstoppable. Finally, the long-awaited day of battle arrived. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a golden glow over the valley where Janyl and her warriors stood, ready to defend their homeland. Clad in simple but strong armor, Janyl was a striking figure at the head of her assembled fighters. Her eyes held a calm determination, and a small, confident smile played on her lips as she looked out over the field where the enemy forces began to gather. With a single gesture, Janyl urged her horse forward, her long braids trailing in the wind as she took her place at the very front. Her fellow warriors, inspired by her bravery, followed suit, drawing their bows and gripping their spears tightly. When the call to charge rang out, Janyl was the first to move, her horse racing forward as her hand released an arrow that soared through the air, landing precisely in its target. Her skill was unmatched, every shot seemed guided by some unseen force, her accuracy and speed leaving the enemy stunned. As she galloped through the thick of battle, her horse moved like lightning, weaving through the chaos with an ease that seemed almost magical. With each turn, Janyl displayed the results of her relentless training. Her arrows struck true, her aim unfaltering, her strength undiminished. Around her, the warriors fought with courage, but all eyes were drawn to the lone figure who led them, whose courage seemed boundless, whose presence gave hope and stirred hearts. In that moment, Janyl was more than a fighter, she was a beacon, a symbol of resilience that stood against the tide of fear. Even her enemies could not help but be awed by the sight of this young woman, who, with grace and power, defied all expectations. The clang of weapons, the rush of hooves, and the determined cries of her warriors filled the air, yet amidst the noise, Janyl's spirit burned bright, guiding her team forward with unwavering resolve. Together, they fought side by side, united by purpose, each move bringing them closer to victory. As the dust of battle settled and the last echoes of clashing weapons faded into the quiet of the valley, a triumphant silence spread over the land. The enemy had been defeated, their forces retreating in surrender, leaving behind the victorious villagers who had fought with such fierce loyalty. In the heart of this hard-won peace stood Janyl Myrza, her armor marked by the trials of battle, yet her spirit as radiant as the morning sun rising over the mountains. With slow, steady steps, Janyl returned to her village, and the people awaited her arrival with a sense of wonder and gratitude. They had always known her as a bold, determined girl, but today she was so much more, a true hero, a warrior who had fought not only for herself but for everyone she loved. One by one, villagers gathered around her, their eyes filled with admiration and pride. As she dismounted her horse, an elder stepped forward, his voice trembling with emotion as he spoke. "Janyl, you have shown us what true courage means. Today, you have taught us all that bravery knows no boundaries, that strength is not bound by gender but by the heart that carries it." Janyl smiled, her heart swelling with the deep warmth of recognition, as villagers clapped and cheered, their voices rising in joyous celebration. For the first time, they had witnessed the power of a spirit unbound by expectation, a soul that defied every limit to bring peace back to their lives. In that moment, Janyl understood that her journey had only just begun. She had inspired hope, proven herself, and now stood as a symbol of strength for everyone in her village. As the villagers surrounded her with gratitude and respect, Janyl stood tall, knowing that her story would live on in the hearts of her people, whispered under starlit skies for generations to come. After the victory and the celebrations had faded, Janyl Myrza returned to her daily life. The morning sun cast a golden light over her village, and Janyl moved through the familiar paths with the quiet grace she'd always had. To those who knew her, she was still the same Janyl, determined, focused, and kind. But to the rest, she had become something much more, a legend, a symbol of strength and courage. Everywhere she went, people would nod in respect, mothers would point her out to their children, and young ones would look up at her with awe in their eyes. They saw not just a woman of remarkable strength but a leader who had shown that anyone, regardless of background or expectation, could stand up for what was right. Still, Janyl remained humble, carrying on with her life as if nothing had changed, though she knew that for her village, everything had. Her days were filled with simple tasks, helping with the harvest, lending a hand to neighbors, and teaching the young ones who wanted to learn the ways of bravery and resilience. In her quiet way, she became a mentor, sharing her wisdom with those who would listen, knowing that her deeds would live on in their stories. And so, Janyl Myrza became more than just a memory of victory. She became a part of the village itself, her spirit woven into the daily life of her people, her bravery and inspiration passed down to future generations. With quiet humility, she accepted the honor and continued her life, knowing that a true hero's legacy isn't in grand titles, but in the lives they touch and the courage they inspire in others. Even as years passed, whenever a challenge arose, the villagers would think of Janyl, of her quiet strength and unwavering courage. Her story remained a soft whisper among them, a reminder that bravery and honor are not always loud, but they echo across lifetimes. As we reach the end of Janyl Myrza's story, there's something deeply moving that her journey leaves with us. Her bravery reminds us that true courage is not about the absence of fear, but about facing it to protect the ones we love. Janyl stood firm, not because she was the strongest or the fiercest warrior, but because her heart carried an unbreakable will to defend her people. Through her, we see that strength knows no bounds. It is not defined by physical power or by the expectations of society, but by the relentless spirit within. Janyl showed us that courage and leadership have no gender. They belong to anyone willing to stand up for justice and kindness. Her story calls to anyone who has ever doubted their own strength, reminding them that courage often looks like quiet determination and a deep love for others. So, what can we take from Janyl Myrza's legacy? Perhaps it's a reminder to break free from the roles that others may expect of us, to rise above the limitations set by the world, and to know that our worth is determined by the strength of our spirit and the kindness of our hearts. In a world that often forgets the quiet heroes, may we remember Janyl's example, a legacy that whispers to us that courage lives in every heart willing to fight for what is right. Let Janyl's story inspire you to face your own challenges with a heart full of determination, to believe that anyone can make a difference, and to know that sometimes, the most powerful warriors are those with the gentlest souls. As we come to the end of Janyl Myrza's inspiring tale, may her story linger with you, reminding us all of the strength, courage, and compassion that lie within. Janyl's journey speaks to anyone who has ever dared to challenge expectations and protect what matters most. Her story is a timeless reminder of the power we each hold. If this story has touched your heart or sparked a sense of wonder, we invite you to join us here for more stories like this, tales that carry the wisdom of generations and the spirit of countless heroes. Don't forget to subscribe to stay connected, like this story if it resonated with you, and share it so others too can be inspired. Together, let's continue exploring these incredible stories that remind us of the courage, resilience, and beauty of the human spirit. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing many more stories with you.